Now we have reached the next segment of the conference where we invite tech presenters to share more about blockchain-related solutions in healthcare.
For our first tech presenter, we have the founder, CEO, and CTO of DataUnion, Mr. Robin Lehmann. With over 4 years of Web3 experience and as head of Ocean Protocol Ambassador Program, as well as over 10 years of extensive machine learning experience in corporate and startup environments, Mr. Lehmann has deep insights of the data scientists and the buyer's needs.
At the same time, Mr. Lehmann is passionate about reducing income inequalities through collaborative approaches like DataUnion across the globe. Without further ado, let's invite Mr. Lehmann on stage to present how decentralized data ecosystems can address data colonialism. Mr. Lehmann, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me here. I will just share my screen and start my presentation. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather, so my voice is a little bit, yeah, let me drink a little bit, one moment. I think it's better now. Okay, my name is Robin, I'm the CEO and CTO of DataUnion, and we're all about powering data collaborations for AI. So we're doing this by building data unions as a service to create AI-ready data and co-owned insights. And we see this as a harsh contrast how it works right now in the world. So the large corporations are harvesting data from individuals and companies, build their algorithms, and then collect all the value that is created by them. And other problems that we see from our enterprise experience is that it's very difficult to bring data together in data collaborations. That you have to make contracts, which takes a long time. And it's difficult to then later determine the value of the data that you have created in your data collaborations. But then one of the most important topics is the data privacy, especially in the healthcare sector. How are you going to tackle all of this? So these are the problems that we want to solve with our solutions. So we have looked at the way that data scientists and in general AI insights are created on top of data. And in the top part, you can see how it works in a traditional way. So 80% of the time is used up for cleaning, collecting, and making the data ready to then actually work with it to create an insight. And we want to build all data unions around these different verticals. So in our case here, healthcare data, and then make it possible that different collaborators, different companies, different hospitals can come together, and also individuals to share their data into a data union. Then the data union takes care of making the data ready for data scientists, and then they can directly create insights. And by doing that, the data can be reused all the time. So in my history, I've worked with in companies where we spent 20 million to make a data set. We used it one time in the automotive industry and then never again. So like, I mean, this is a huge waste of resources. And in the data union, this data could then have been used again. So this is like a little bit of the dimensions why we think that this makes a lot of sense. We've identified 5 important components to make this happen. So on the first one is that we need data security. So there we're working with Ocean Protocol, and especially the compute to data feature. So data can stay in its location and still be monetized and used. So this is a very, very important component for us, because this gets around a lot of the regulatory problems. You know, if you can compute on the data in the local network, if you don't have to give it out, if you don't have to send it to a server, then a lot of the problems are already solved. The second component is that we allow co-ownership among all contributors. So if somebody brings in something, if they play their part in creating value, then we always give them something back for that. The third component is that we create a play-to-earn software development kit to bring in people all around the world to work on the data. So for us, it's important that the data gets AI ready, so that we know what the data is, that it's not just the raw data, but that it gets enhanced. And for this, we are using this play-to-earn component so that people have fun while doing that. The fourth component is a shopification of data unions. So we think there will be thousands to 10,000s of data unions in the future. And we want to take out all of these issues around setting them up, running them, and we use smart contracts to do so. And the fifth component is the market pricing. So here we also use Ocean Protocol's liquidity pools and data tokens to make it possible to always have a price for the data assets, to be able to have a market around the data. And we're seeing the creation of data unions in several stages. The first one is the initiation stage, so the breeding. So this is basically where we are right now, for example, with Dinesh and Dr. Dinesh and HealthLink. So we're talking about, okay, what will the data set look like? How can we create it? How can it be annotated? What is the metadata that we need? And now we're connected to Alonso from the US. So and more companies are coming to us in the healthcare sector and talking to us and say, okay, we want to also create such a data union. And now that where we are helping is like to consult them how to bring the data together, how to come up with a data format that all of this can be used, how to make the metadata for AI so that later buyers can easily access it. So we're helping out here with our software and our knowledge. We're also building the components here, a backend where the data can then be registered. So then the next step is to how it can be open, how it can be offered on Ocean protocol itself, how it can be listed on a marketplace. So this is where we think it's important for us to help the data unions to take the step, because we have the knowledge and the experience, and we a lot of newcomers, especially in areas that don't have anything to do with IT or not too much with IT, they will have a very hard time to do all of this. So that's where we think we can help them. The breeding stage from our point of view ends when we get the first customer. So this is then when we will create such a data token, and the data token will then create a real world value, so an economic value around the data set itself, and then also an investment can happen. So to grow such a project is also always important to also have a certain amount of funding, and with these data tokens, which represent the economy around this data set, it's then possible to also get the value of the data set and then to have the investors invest into that. We take a share of the data tokens here to be aligned in the incentives. So only if the data set and the data token do well, then also we do well. So we think that's important also to be aligned here. And in this stage, we then also bring on the data scientists. So we are connected to a good number of data scientist communities, and they then also will help to create insights on the data to make it more attractive for buyers to buy it. Then the next stage, after such a data union created its own community, they become partners for us. So then they can stand on their own, and they have basically gone through our development process. We have a tokenomics around all of this. So we are creating our own data union ecosystem token. So this is what we see as the people in the system. For us, it's very important that the people have to be there and that we can align the incentives around the people. And here in the middle, we then have a data set. So that's what's connected here to the blockchain and to our token. So here we're creating a liquidity pool. And this liquidity pool is used to access the data set. So you have to spend such a data token here to get access to the data set to do something with it. And in the next level, on top of that, we are creating the insights. So like these are then AI algorithms, which are also only accessible through an insight data token, but we are now creating a connection. So like if the sales happens here on top of the insights, so if it's getting used, then a share of that trickles down here to the people and the data producers in the data set. So that's here the arrow backwards. And this creates a trickle-down data economy. So if you think about a hospital situation where you have created an algorithm from a lot of patient data, maybe thousands or 10,000 or 100,000 of patients, then in the end, like after you have a very good algorithm, you do not necessarily need the data again. So you maybe bought it 20 or 50 times to train it. But after that, the people who created the data, they will not get anything back from that. What we are doing here by then connecting the usage of the algorithm to the data is like every time it gets used in the future, we give something back to the people who have created the data. So it does not have to be too large of a share. I mean, of course, creating something like this will also cost a lot of money, but it still connects the two systems together. So that's something that is not happening right now in the Web 2.0 world. You make the algorithm, you do not care about who produced the data, who made it ready to use for you. You just have your algorithm and you profit from it. There's no consequences. And that's what we're changing by having this specific structure here. So the market that we're addressing is the whole machine learning market. We see ourselves as a market growth enabler. So especially around data-centric AI, so to find the right kind of data. And we are powering the crowdsourcing to drive the data growth in data monetization and data labeling. We have a plan also on what we can offer our data unions in the future. So at the beginning, we're working with data and crypto affine projects. For example, you guys with your clinics, you are for us a data and crypto affine community, as you already make a conference like this one today and invite us. This is a great sign. In the next step, we want to then enable that this kind of data can then be used in data platforms, so that that if a customer wants to come and create something on top of data, normally they have to bring all the data for themselves. So it's for them, it's always the obligation to make sure that they collect the data and make it ready for machine learning, and then they can start using such an AWS SageMaker platform or here other opportunities in the Web 2.0 world. But with the data unions, instead the data can come directly from a data union instead of having to create it again. So then there's a lot of time saving, and for these platforms it will be very interesting to offer this to their customers. And in the last step, we then want to do collaborations with Web 2.0 companies. So then basically abstracting completely from the crypto space. So offering all of the services only for fiat and without any crypto attached to it anymore. So we think that this is very important for large enterprises and also in certain regulatory environments, because it's not possible for companies to do anything with crypto. So I think in Singapore, it's a little bit different. But yeah, basically our data unions will then also be accessible from somewhere else. And we are basically creating data unions as a service. So like, it's then like AWS offers a cloud service, then instead it's like a data union data offer as a service. So like you just pay with the fiat, you ramp on with like traditional money, you do what you want to do, you get your results, and you don't even have to know that anything had to do with crypto. So that's our goal in the last step. That's where we think we can then capture the whole world, and especially for all our data unions to do the same. So all the development steps that we are doing are basically targeted to be applied to all the data unions that we are creating. At the moment, we're working already with 12 different data units. So here we can see HealthLink and Insight. So I think both of them will probably also are involved in the conference today. But we also have other topics around sensor data, or like here, this is about HR data, so personal development. We have another one for algorithms, and our own one is also called Planet Computer Vision. It's around image data. So yeah, here we're taking the different data unions through the stages of going from first a breeding stage into the growing and then partner stage. So we are Mark and myself. Mark is a business and ecosystem developer with 20 years of corporate and AI experience. He has worked in Siemens and Elsevier. And myself, I'm a machine learning expert too. And we are supported by a team of international developers, so who help us work on our products. So at the moment, we are building out the products for different stages. So like our own ocean marketplace, a data portal where specific data can be bought, and also mobile apps. And then we are offering these to our customers and the data units. So for example, for HealthLink, we're also integrating the front end right now into our backend. And we are endorsed by Outlier Ventures and Filecoin Basecamp, by Ocean Protocol and Cellocamp. Overall, Data Union connects people, data, and insights to power AI. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. I think I consumed all the time so far. Thank you.